LR, the liberal redneck here, coming to you from a country that is being hamstrung by the Conservative Party. That party wants a convicted rapist and fraudster to be their leader in the White House. That party has elected an evangelical nutjob who wants to give the rich even greater tax breaks to be the Speaker of the House. That party is allowing a single senator to halt all military promotions and leaving us terribly weakened in the defense of our nation because he heard they allow abortion after birth. That party goes home, sees the great results of President Biden's infrastructure bill, and instantly claims credit for something none of them voted for. That party faces ominous signs in their efforts to avoid a January shutdown of our government. After this week, the House is set to be in session for just 16 legislative days before the first of a two-part deadline to fund the government on January 19th, with the rest expiring 2 weeks later on February 2nd. This week's appropriations stall only exacerbates the time crunch. New Speaker Mike Johnson is facing pressure for some of the same conservatives who toppled his predecessor, Kevin McCarthy. "We need to show some real guts on spending cuts," said Tim Burchett with Tennessee, who was among the 8 conservatives who helped oust McCarthy. "That's what we've kind of asked for." Conservatives are insisting the chamber pass all 12 of the government's annual appropriation bills individually, which they say would provide leverage in negotiations with the Democratic-led Senate. Conservative leaders insist they're on the track to meet that demand, but long-standing disagreements over funding levels, social policies, and other issues have led to several of the remaining funding bills either being torpedoed on the House floor or pulled from consideration. With a razor-thin majority and Democrats voting against all the bills out of opposition to cuts, Johnson has little room for error. The House conservative struggles on its remaining funding bills are just one aspect of the time crunch. After figuring out its own position, the chamber must come to agreement with the Democratic-controlled Senate, which has lagged behind the House in passing funding measures and appears headed toward a massive omnibus package, a strategy Johnson says he'll reject. "We broke the omnibus fever. We call it the Omni fever," Johnson said Monday. The Senate has also marked up bills at higher levels than what McCarthy negotiated in a debt limit increase deal with the White House in June. As the funding fight drags on, senior appropriators worry that the House conservatives will be weak on their footing in inter-chamber negotiations if the conference continues to struggle with clearing its spending bills. "My goal is to move the most conservative bills we can out of the House to put us in the best possible negotiating position with the Senate," Representative Mario Diaz-Balart said, a House Appropriations Subcommittee chair. "But if we can't pass, we don't have the votes to do conservative bills, it'll just weaken our hand." That party is not even able to agree among themselves on the fundamental issue of funding our government, and is likely to put us in another shutdown. On the bright side, it does create a huge opportunity for Democrats to regain control in 2024. Even hardcore party members will have a difficult time voting for this current crop of incompetent idiots. Thanks for listening, and remember, always vote blue.